Alright, so welcome along to Hellmouth Hotline. We're doing something completely different from here on. We're going to be trying to do some video podcasting along with it. Now, I'm not going to be using any clips from the show because I don't own that. There's the whole argument of fair use and that sort of thing, but a lot of things aren't understood about the whole fair use argument. They say as long as you throw it on there, chop it and change it and whatnot, you can use it as fair use, which is true, but it isn't officially fair use until a judge stands up in a court and agrees with you that it is indeed fair use. So essentially, you could end up paying a lot of money per video, per upload, just for the sake of having your fair use. It is one of those weird little subjects that I just don't want to be having the argument with. So my podcasts are essentially normally just audio, and I thought to myself, okay, we'll throw up some video for a little change here as well, but I'm going to be doing the normal thing that I normally do in my audio podcast, and that is I'm going to be looking through my notes as I'm doing it. So if I'm not looking at the camera all the time, please forgive me, and if you are listening to it on audio, it's going to be exactly the same as it's always been for you guys. So enjoy the show. This is Hellmouth Hotline. I am Rodney Stewart. So Buffy the Vampire Slayer, loving this series so far. Season 5, episode 3. The episode is entitled The Replacement, and a fun little episode and a little message in there as well about self-confidence that's not really signposted, but if you look closely you'll see it there. So they don't make any song and dance about it, but there's a moment between the Xanders where he should realise that he has more potential than what he normally has. So essentially at the beginning of this episode, they're hanging out as per usual. They're watching a movie. There's Xander and Anya's there along with Buffy and Riley, and they hear the noise of Xander's drunken parents turning up in the house, fighting upstairs, yelling, wrecking the place. The next day, they start to look for potential new apartments for Xander. He doesn't think he can afford it, and this starts to upset Anya. Giles over at the new magic shop, well, the old magic shop that he's bought over, gets a visit from a demon searching for the Slayer. He later identifies the demon as Toph, the only survivor of the Tophric clan. There's a little joke in there about the British heritage of Giles. Whenever he uses the word Toph, someone jokes that it's, it's a slang in England for the upper class toodly pips sort of thing. But the Scoobies, they start to check out the city dump. Giles has the memory that there was a smell that came with him, an old factory sense sort of a thing, to which Xander jokes about, we're going to have to go back to the old factory, I hate that place. But just Xander cracking the jokes and that. So they go looking for this demon at the dump. They come across Spike in there. He's collecting random garbage. The demon attacks, and Xander jumps in front of the gang to protect them from the demon, and he gets hit with a light from this little short staff, sort of a weapon that the demon has. They said earlier in the episode that this demon uses not weapons, but well, let's just say weapons. The word I want to say has completely jumped out of my face right now. He uses tools, essentially, to get what he wants out of things. So Xander gets hit to this thing, knocked to the ground, gets back up to his feet. The demon has disappeared at this point, and he walks off with the rest of the gang. But turns out there is another Xander lying in a pile of trash that doesn't wake up till the next morning. When he does, he leaves the dump and discovers that his double is at his flat, at his house. Meanwhile, Spike, we cut over to him. He's put together a Buffy doll from a mannequin and uses it as practice for beating on. He's like, one of these days, Slayer. One of the Xanders is very confident and observant and gets a promotion at work, signs a lease for the apartment and sets up a date with Anya, and the woman that signed him up for the flat tells him, you want to meet up anytime, just let me know. I put my personal phone number on there as well. So Xander, he's freaking out that this replacement Xander is living his life better than he is, essentially. So after the two Xanders see each other, the confident Xander talks to Buffy and makes matters worse because he says, there's this thing that has stolen my face. We need to kill it, sort of a thing. Xander goes to see Willow. She hasn't been a part of this meeting. There's the confident Xander. There's Giles, Buffy, and Riley the tit. If you if you've been watching this podcast any length of time, I don't necessarily like the character of him very much, and it all has to do with the Initiative series. I've probably said this countless times in the show. He played a good college student, and when he clicked into army man mode and he tried to put that hard man face on, that angry look, just didn't convince me at all. It's like if you met that guy in the street and he was trying to act the hard man with that look on his face, you would kind of, me personally, I would sort of laugh in his face. And, chances are he could kick 7 shades of crap out of me, but I'd be laughing the way through it because I'm just not convinced that he's a hard guy. So, that's all part of that group that has been with the confident Xander. And at this point in the episode, us as a viewer are seeing this confident version of Xander as the imposter, more or less. So the real Xander, let's just say, goes to see Willow and tries to explain that his double's taken over his life just exactly the same way that the other one did to the other group of the Scoobies. He tells Willow that the double's doing a better job living my life than I am, and suddenly realises that his double's going after Anya, and that is one thing he's not going to allow. Anya, over at the new apartment with the confident Xander, discuss their future, and Anya expresses her fears about not living forever, her having been the vengeance demon at one point and becoming human. The vengeance demon was essentially going to live forever, that version of her, but this one here is got a normal human lifespan, and she's starting to feel that time's getting behind her, even though she's in her 20s and she's got a good 50 years ahead of her, essentially. And just Anya, been a bit of Anya. And here, Giles discovers that the Rod of Thoth used to split Xander into two Xanders are the same person. It's not the Thoth demon masquerading as Xander. It is actually Xander. It's just the two different sides of the same person. One's the confident and got the positive aspects of the personality, where the other one's the stupid, silly, negative version of it. So, as the viewer, you start to realise at this point that the Xander, like we know and love within the series, has always had these kind of traits that were, top of the personality, and doesn't believe in himself so much, so that's where you're thinking as a viewer, this is the real Xander, but it just goes to show there's more depth to Xander that has been coming out thus far in the series. Toph's actual plan has been to split Buffy into her human and Slayer forms, then killing the human Buffy as this is his plan. Split the Slayer into two and kill the weaker human half, because the other stronger Slayer half can't live without the human half. So this is where the oh crap moment happens in the episode, because the two Xanders are going to meet each other at some point and take each other out, more or less, and if one wins, the other one's going to die anyway. So where are we at? My notes have I've lost my place as per usual in this here podcast. The hasty Xander crashes a date between the confident Xander and Anya. Both think that the other is a demon, and Xander pulls a handgun out at Anya's apartment, ready to take him out. The Scoobies turn up, and Buffy tells the doubles the truth about their situation and tries to convince them not to kill each other. Toph then appears in the apartment, and only Buffy and Riley fight and kill him. The Xander halves eventually begin to get along, and their actions become so similar that each one is complimenting the other. Like, you've probably seen this clip circulating online a lot recently. I've been seeing it for some weird reason in the lead up to doing this review. Kill us both, Spock, as a joke at the crack from the episode at Giles, and then they turn and laugh on each other's faces. And they're getting more and more alike right now, and Giles is like, yeah, he's clearly a bad influence on himself. So Giles and Willow research and come up with a way to reunite the Xander halves, but Anya expresses disappointment coming up towards the end of the episode over which one she wants, and she wants the both of them really to hang around for a little while for some sexual shenanigans, because she's kind of like, and she says at one point, that's not really cheating because they're both the same person, and she wants to get a threesome on with the two of them. Dirty Italian. Willow ends the spell. They essentially get him to stand in the circle, the cross, and the circle and the star in the middle of it, and the candles, the dark magic sort of thing. And that's brought something else to mind, but we'll finish about the episode before we get into that. Willow ends the spell basically by saying, let the spell be ended. And Xander sitting there, the two of them have their eyes closed while she's doing it, and she simply says that, and the camera cuts over to Xander, and he's like, that's it, that's never going to work. And he turns, and the other Xander is gone. He's now reunited 100% with himself at the end of the episode. At the end of the episode, while moving Xander into his new apartment, Xander and Riley start talking, and Riley confesses that despite how much he loves Buffy, he realises that she doesn't feel the same way about him. So, can't say I'm devastated about that revelation, but it is what it is. And perhaps, I don't know this for sure, but perhaps the viewers back in the day whenever this series first came out had the same reaction to Riley as what I had. I don't think he's don't get me wrong, I'm sure the guy's a good actor. I've seen him in a few other things. He does a good job, more or less, but anytime he's doing like the hard man act, that's not convincing for me. It didn't convince me in the initiative storyline, and even whenever I can hear sirens coming, someone's in trouble somewhere. Anyway, that's outside the office, don't even worry about that. Yeah, great little episode. And the thing about the dark magic that I come up with there, we'll cover that just briefly now. Like, I have had a lot of people in the past in my personal life having a few little attacks on me for the sorts of shows and movies that I like to watch, and it's like, you shouldn't be watching this sort of a thing because they're delving into the dark arts and dark subjects and whatnot, and that opens doors to this, that, and the other. And fair enough if that's your viewpoint, but I kind of feel that people should give something a shot before they put their opinion on it, because you have that in Buffy here, you've got that in countless movies. Like right now I'm doing the Conjuring movies on a Friday night on this podcast, and the Conjuring, based on true stories more or less. The first and the third one anyway, the third one's coming this Friday, by the way, but it's based on characters in real life that used exorcisms and whatnot, and there's quotes from them that comes directly from biblical sources, and if memory serves, it does say at the end of the first Conjuring, a quote from your guy, that the angels and demons are real, and it all depends where you put your support, sort of thing. So, you've got movies, you've got TV shows, horror based, people write them off completely right away as demonic and all this sort of stuff. But whenever you look at that there, you've got The Conjuring, and just give you that example, and you've got Buffy the Vampire Slayer here, which is, she's a slayer, she's going after vampires. That's the Dracula Van Helsing sort of thing all over again, and two of her main weapons are the cross and holy water. So, it's got all that sort of stuff in there as well. So don't write this stuff off before you give it a chance. And even the dark magic sort of a thing that they do bounce off in the series, like at the end of the series there, where they were taking out the initiative, there was the backlash of the black magic whenever the original Slayer come back on them. And at some point, I can't recall when in the series, I think it's probably the next season, Willow does get the backlash of using black magic in a major way. So that does show you that there's the balance there between good and evil, and what happens if you screw with it, sort of thing. But to finish this episode off, the little hidden pearl in this episode, the little moral to the story, is that just because you don't feel confident in something doesn't mean you can't do it. And Xander learns this from his confident half in this episode. He follows him about for a little while. At the beginning of the episode, we seen that he was afraid to take this apartment on because he didn't think he could keep the money coming in to keep the apartment, and talking himself out of it in real time in the episode. But this occurrence happens within the episode, splits them in half. There's the confident side, there's the not so confident side, and the not so confident side is following the other one about and watching what happens whenever you let your confidence come to the surface. It gets the apartment, it gets a promotion at work, it gets a possible date with this woman that signs the apartment over for him, and yes, his girlfriend starts to see a real lasting future with him. And the thing is, coming up towards the end of the episode, the not so confident Xander questions the confident Xander. How did you do all this sort of stuff and get the promotion at work, especially, was one of them. And the confident side is like, I'm good at that sort of work. It's as simple as that. I'm good at that sort of stuff. So it goes to show you, there is more to everybody than we necessarily let out at times. So nice little message in there as well to, if you're feeling self-conscious about something, you're not so sure that you can make something happen, give yourself a shot. Let it happen. Let that little confident side come out on you for a change, and just let yourself see where you could possibly go if you let that happen. So that's going to do it for this episode, I think. Just looking to see if there's any more little tidbits online here about the episode. There's some things listed here for continuity. Yeah, there's a few little callbacks in that episode to other things. But not worth delving into, really. Plus, I have to go to work shortly and have to get this episode edited and put up before then. So that's going to do it for this one. Cutting her down in a major way. I don't think I'm going to use the intro music anymore. And screw the outro. The attention span of people these days is at an all-time low. I did a little tester on an hour podcast a few weeks ago just to see what would happen if I dropped the intro tune to it, because that's the way I started on my podcast. The wee intro tune at the very beginning, which is like 10 seconds long or something like that, and dropped an episode or two here and there without that on at the front of it, and their attention for the episode was a lot higher without the intro music than it was with the intro music. So yeah, I'm just going to drop it from here on in, and probably keep the video podcast going as well, and we'll see how that goes. But again, we're not going to be using any footage for the episodes because the channel will probably do better with it, but the financial side of the channels doesn't allow for it at this point. If it ever does, we'll see, but that is stuff that's neither here nor there for you guys that are watching this. Really, at the end of the day, you don't have to worry about the cash side of things. Right, that is going to do it for this episode, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please rate and review, share it along, and do all that good social media stuff. I will love you forever. And until the next episode, stay safe, and I will talk to you all then.